Can you conveniently lose your memory, pass lie detectors, and jump out of tall buildings and survive? Well, maybe. This episode on Book Theory. Hello, and welcome to Book Theory, the show that combines research, science, and math to answer questions no one bothered to ask. On this episode, we're going to dig deep and figure out how realistic this series of dystopian novels really is. It's time for a quick overview. Ready, set, go! The Legend series is told from two perspectives. Daniel Day-Wing, who's a 15-year-old teen living on the streets and slums in the Republic of America. He is highly skilled in climbing and surviving however he can. His family thinks he's dead, however his brother knows he is alive. The other narrator is June Ypres, who is the Republic's prodigy. She scored a perfect 1500 on her exam, and she skipped many years of school and graduated high school at the age of 15. Both are highly skilled individuals, however throughout the novels, the characters experience certain events that raise the eyebrows of some observant readers. June Ypres is a trained professional at many things involving her work as an agent for the Republic. However, when she turns on them in the second book, Prodigy, she is forced to take a lie detector test. However, thankfully she is fully equipped in the knowledge of how to beat these tests. Are June's skills really used in the real world to pass the old polygraph test? Well, let's find out. June starts off by slowing her breathing, relaxing her eyes, and keeping her mouth straight. She supposedly does this to raise her heart rate and blood pressure. The doctor asking her questions starts asking her easy control questions like her name, birthday, and age to get a sense of her current state. With each one, June makes her breathing more and more shallow. She pretends to get agitated at one of the control questions in order to raise her heart rate. When they start to ask more in-depth and tricky questions, she quickens her breathing to lower her heart rate back down. She manages to pass the lie detector test without it detecting a lie, even though she did multiple times. Interesting tactics used, but are they realistic? Well, according to life science, lying makes your breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure rise. This is exactly what a detector looks for. They start with control questions that you do not lie with, and then force you to say a white lie without you realizing it to see what happens when you lie. The detector detects a lie when your vitals go above the ones when you told a white lie. However, what June has done is raise her heart rate and blood pressure before the white lie question, so that when she does lie, her vitals do not go above the white lie stats. The machine sees if your lie is more of a lie than the white lie. Doing what June did makes it easier for her to lie without the machine picking it up. The strategies she used to accomplish this are completely legitimate. Slowing your breathing and getting agitated raise these stats early so you can get away with a lie later. Turns out June's abilities stack up against actual strategies to beat the lie detectors. Okay, looks like this book beat me on this one, but I'm positive I'll get the next one. Towards the end of the third book, Champion, due to experimentation from the Republic, Day has a limp, an imperfection in one of his eyes, and chronic bad headaches. It is realized at the end of book 2 that Day is dying of a bad tumor that he has developed in his brain for years. At the end of book 3, Day undergoes the almost impossible surgery, but loses his memory from the past year, which includes all the events of the series as well as meeting June. After a 5-month coma after his surgery, June decides to not tell him what happened or who she is because it would just cause him more pain. This sudden memory loss seems to be very convenient and plot-driven so that June and Day cannot be together. A further investigation of the legitimacy of the memory loss is in order. The book actually goes into explicit detail of what type of memory loss Day has experienced. Day's doctor explains Day has retrograde amnesia, and that he had trouble remembering the past year or so, but not any of his skills or memories before then. Doing a further look, it turns out retrograde amnesia isn't far off from what Day has. According to Luke Maston, retrograde amnesia affects memory from the area in which the brain is damaged. In Day's case, this is his hippocampus. There are a few reasons for the damage that causes this amnesia. Damage is caused by sudden blows, strokes, or tumors that may become present. Day clearly has the latter of those options, a tumor that he developed from the Republic's experimentation. Maston goes on to point out that the memory affected will be episodic memory. This means that he'll have trouble remembering specific events versus common knowledge. This is because newer memories' neurons are weaker than that of older memories. These causes, symptoms, and effects perfectly describe what Day is experiencing. Let's take a look at that scoreboard again and oh shoot, it looks like I'm down 2 points. Okay, I think I have something good for the third and final theory for today. So far, 2 of the most unbelievable and seemingly plot-driven events have turned out to be very factual and accurate to real life. However, a third event, right in the beginning of Legend, slipped under many readers' radars while reading. First things first, in Legend in the second chapter, Day is forced to jump out of a 3-story hospital to evade soldiers while stealing medicine for his family as Eden has become very sick. He is said to limp away from the fall with a cracked rib and a sprained ankle. However, under further observation, this may not be the case. To figure out exactly what we need to know and how bad the impact was, we need to understand why people get hurt when they fall. According to Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, meaning when Day impacts the ground, the force he is falling at will come right back through his body. It's not the fall that hurts him, it's the sudden stop. There are a few things we need to figure out to do the calculations to find how much of an impact Day is experiencing when he lands. First, let's find the mass of Day. On the Legend Wikia website, it states that at the time of the fall, Day is 5 foot 10 inches tall, or 1.78 meters. Believe it or not, by just using his height, we can get a pretty good estimate of how much mass he contains. Using the body mass index, the average BMI of a person his age is 19.9. The equation to find a person's BMI is mass divided by height squared. Using this, we can reverse the equation and find mass. Our equation will look like this. Mass divided by 3.1684 equals 19.9. To find mass, there is only one step. We need to multiply both sides by 3.1684 to get mass by itself, which ends up being about 63 kilograms. Make note there's a big difference between mass and weight. Mass measures the amount of stuff in something, while weight is the mass affected by gravity. This is why your weight will change on the moon due to the change in gravity, but your mass will always stay the same. To find the force Day is experiencing at his impact, we need mass. The next and last thing we need to know is how high Day is falling from. It states in the book that he jumps out of a hospital from the 3rd story. The average height of 1 story is 3.9 meters, which we can extrapolate to 11.7 meters for 3 stories. We now have everything we need to figure out if Day escaped, is injured, or is dead. First, we need to calculate the velocity at which Day is falling when he hits the ground. The equation to find this is the square root of 2 times 9.8, or the force of gravity, times height. We can substitute our height in and solve. 2 times 9.8 times 11.7 is 229.32. The square root of that is just about 15.14 meters per second. However, if we want to be exact in the next equation, I'll keep the velocity at radical 229.32. Now with the velocity, we can estimate how many newtons of force he will experience when he collides with the ground. The equation to find this is 1/2 times mass times velocity squared equals mass times the force of gravity times height. Substituting our values we found earlier, our equation looks like this. 1/2 times 63 times radical 229.23 equals 63 times 9.8 times 11.7. When you simplify, you are left with just about 7,223.58 newtons on the left and 7,223.58 newtons on the right. This means our calculation is correct since both sides are equal to each other. Now, for people who haven't looked into physics before, this number is crazy. It only takes 5,000 newtons to break the largest bone, the femur, in your leg. At this force, Day has shattered his femurs and whatever other bones in his body. If that wasn't enough, his legs probably shot up through his body like spears because of the Newton's first law. If Day did not die, he is in no way in any shape of running from the soldiers that are after him. There's no way he survived that fall, which also was most likely onto concrete since he's outside of a hospital which is surrounded by a giant parking lot, which just adds fuel to the fire. However, there is one last thing we can look at here, the fact that Day claims he rolled, which allowed him to spread out the impact, which however it is a great strategy for doing this. However, at 3 stories and over 7,200 newtons of force on concrete, I really don't care about how talented Day is at parkour, there's no way he was going to get away from those soldiers. Professional parkour artists who spent years practicing can only jump 1 story, roll on the padding, and just barely be fine. Most likely, Day would never have made it even past chapter 2 in the first book. So next time you're 3 stories high and about to jump out of a hospital, you should reconsider it. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get alerts when the next series comes out. See you next time, stay smart.